Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about how LLM agents work. So the core components of an LLM agent are LLM core, which is the brain of the agent, which processes input and reads to reasoning steps and generate the outputs. And there is a planning module also separately can be built, which can break the task into actionable steps, which also use the LLM to do the planning. And memory system so stores context and history for continuity. And tool integration, which it extends the capabilities of the LLM agent with APIs and external tools like calculator, calendar, code interpreters, websites, etc. And we can also include a reflection mechanism which can evaluate the outcomes and adjust the planning, which is also being done by the LLM. So in the diagram below, you can see the structure of an LLM agent. So it has tool, it has memory, it has planning module, and the action module. The action module is nothing but a module which decides which tool to use. And planning module also uses the LLM to decide the planning and do the reflection, self critics, like etc. So now coming to the LLM core, the agent's brain. So LLM helps interpreting natural language and infers the intent, also break down complex tasks into steps and do some reasoning. Like OpenAI's O1 model, they can do the reasoning, and some other models like DeepSeek R1, they can also very good at reasoning steps. So those LLMs can be used for reasoning steps. And generating produces text and code and action plans and everything it generates, and it also can decide which tool to use and which action to perform based on the user prompt and the context. And planning module, so the main goal of the planning module is to do task decomposition, break down the complex task into manageable steps, and outlines the sequential or hierarchical actions. And also it matches tasks to appropriate tools. And sometimes we need the plan validation also. It ensures the steps are feasible and efficient. So it can be step by step planning, like one by one the task will be executed, or hierarchical planning can be done also, like high level plans will be first executed, then granular level smaller tasks will be executed. And dynamic adjustment can also be done, like, and it can adapt the plans based on the outcomes. So the planning module ensures the tasks are structured, executable, and optimized for success. The planning module behind the scene works with the help of the LLM. It is it can be thought of as a separate module because the planning steps is an important step in any agentic framework. And memory systems, so there are several kinds of memory, like short term memory which can retain context for current task or conversation. So short term memory can generally, in the LLM's context length, we can consider it as a short term memory, or long term memory which stores historical data for personalization and learning. So you can use a external vector database to store the historical conversation or historical responses for uh, better contextual understanding of the agent. And context management so maintains coherence across multiple interactions. So sometimes a user may do multiple interaction with the agent. So previously done conversation or task can be stored in a memory. So while the user starts a new conversation, then those contexts can be used for better response management. And types of memory, generally episodic memory, so task specific or temporary storage. And semantic memory will be like knowledge accumulated over time, or historical conversation, like historical outputs or historical tool uses, etc. So these all can be stored in external database or vector database, or any simple uh, storage system. You can store them, and whenever required you can fetch them and give it to the LLM for better contextual understanding. And memory systems enhance the continuity and personalization and task efficiency in LLM agents. And tool for LLM based agents. So tool are used for perception. So it enables agent to gather information from external sources, like using external APIs like weather API for weather information, or for search for web search it can use web search APIs to gather real time information about latest news or latest uh, events. For action or writing action, so it allows agents to modify environments, like it can update the database, fetch data from the database, it can create email and send email, and also sometimes it can save the outputs to a file and create new files in the database also. And capability extensions, like it enhances the inherent model limitations, like sometimes the model may not be able to give us exact mathematical calculation, then we can use calculator tools, or to get like better translation we can use translation tools. And also, so several kinds of tool can be used, for example, for knowledge augmentation, text retrievers, SQL executors, web scrapers, those kind of tool can be used. And for coding process, code interpreters can be used. And for image captioning and other things, we can use image captioner. For latex formatted output, we can use latex compilers, etc. And for gathering like date or time info, we can use calendar tools, etc. But there are sometimes security concerns also there with the tools. So right actions require strict safeguard to prevent malicious activities. And too many tools call can reduce also efficiency. Tool selection must balance the capability and usability. So we should not give too many tools to the LLM. So it may get confused sometimes and it may reduce the performance of the LLM. So we need to balance the number of tools with the capability of LLM and the usability of the agent. And reflection mechanism in AI agents. So the reflection mechanism enables the agents to evaluate actions, identify errors, and adapt strategies for improved outcomes. The key functions are, so output evaluation. So it assesses the output and checks whether the goals are met after each step or task. And it can detect also errors, like identify mistakes in planning and execution or tool uses. And also it can refine strategies or plans based on the past output or past mistakes. So these evaluation and critique are also done by a LLM. And there are several techniques for self-critique. As a self-critique methodology, the agent reflect on their outputs and suggest improvement itself. An external evaluation, we can use an external LLM or any other specialized components or models to assess the agent's results and give feedback to it to improve itself. An iterative adjustment, we can plan and actions or we can plan the actions which can be revised dynamically for better performance in a loop. So first we will give some input, the LLM or the agent will plan and do some action. If there is any uh, error or any deficiency, it will detect it and revise it dynamically, and again run the task, and it will perform the loop until the goal is met or until some stopping criteria is reached. So in this way, reflection mechanism in AI agents gives the agents uh, to to give the agents power to evaluate actions and identify the errors and adapt according to the uh, improved outcomes. And control flows in AI agents. Control flows generally de- are the order and the logic by which tasks and actions are executed in AI agents. So the control flows can be like sequential. So one by one, or each agent will perform their task. Like first, for example, first it will fetch the data and process the data and generate response. And parallel, multiple actions can be executed simultaneously. For example, multiple web pages can be browsed by the agent simultaneously. Conditional if statement decision can be made based on some conditions, like if query involves billing, retrieve the payment history. If user ask for web search, then do web search. If user do not ask for web search, they do not do web search. Those kind of conditional scenario may be there. Iterative loops, actions are repeated until a condition is met. For example, generate numbers until a prime number is found, or generate the output until a criteria is reached. Like uh, the output, if there is anything wrong with the output, correct it and rerun it and redo the output until it's correct. So in this way iterative loops can work. Now we have discussed about single agent system. So there can be multiple agent in a system. Those systems are called multi-agent systems. So here each agent handles specific role or task, and agents can communicate and share results to achieve a common goal. So it enables handling a large and multi uh, domain problems. For example, customer support agent. So one agent can retrieve the questions, another processes user profile, and agent can generate the response, and another agent can fetch the customer data. So in data processing pipeline, one agent can be used for data extraction, another can be used for transformation, another agent for analysis. So in this way, LLM agent system works. So in the future videos, we will discuss about the multi-agent system and how they are different structure which can be used for building multi-agent systems. Thank you. Hope you have learned something today from this video about LLM based agents.